So what is green waste compost? There seems to be a lot of confusion and a lot of people have different ideas and opinions about it. So what I thought I'd do is just give you a brief outline as to what it is for me and why it's important for me and what I use it for. Now, if you're a regular viewer, you're going to know why I do it. But for those that don't, let me explain. And we're going to start with the delivery, which is coming up there. So we'll go and get that organised and then we'll come back and talk about it more. Okay, so you've just seen it delivered. 4 tons, and that's cost me the equivalent of 70 English pounds. Don't know what the exchange rate is in the US, but there we go. That's how much it's cost me. You know, 70 odd quid. I think that's pretty good going for 4 tons of the stuff. But what is green waste compost? Well, before we get a closer look at that, let me explain how it works here in southern Hungary. So basically, and I'm sure the same in the UK as well, is that households will generate their garden waste or their green waste and they pop it into a separate bag which is then collected and processed. Now for us here, it's with a local company in the local town and they collect all of it from households, municipal workers, you name it, wherever they can get their hands on it. It all goes in and then it's processed on an industrial scale. Now a lot of people might think to themselves, well, it's going to have chemical residues in it and it's going to have weed seeds in it, it's going to have this, that and the other in it. Well, I've checked it, and the first thing is there's 2 things I need to think about. I need to make sure that the waste that they're using is as I've just described, which it is. So there's no other things, there's no animal waste and there's no human waste, for example, as though some people have suggested to me here locally that that's the case. It is not the case. Like I say, I've been and checked. And the other thing is we need to make sure that it gets to the absolute perfect temperature in order for it to react with any residues that may or may not be there and kill them off. So if it gets then to a high enough Celsius reading, which is around about 160 degrees Celsius on a consistent level for a good period of time, which I think is 7 days, but I'll double check, it will get rid of all the chemical residues. Any weed seeds in there won't stand a chance. All the bacteria, everything, it's gone. It end up with a very dry mix that's full of organic matter. Although it's dry and it's technically not quite alive, it is good feed for the soil life that I've got here on my plot. So let's take a closer look at it and you'll get an idea of what I'm on about. There it is. Now when it was delivered, you might have seen me wandering around with my shovel, but I also had something else in my hand. Now I've just picked up a piece of this because sometimes it comes in quite a hard form, but it's very easy to break up. There's a bit of moisture in that, but there can be a couple of issues with this. So looking at this closely, there's a lot of woody material in here, but also I can see remnants of the plastic bags that haven't quite broken down well enough in the mix. Now what I do is with this is that I obviously very careful. Depending on the time of year you get this, you can have more contaminants in it than usual, but generally speaking, I think I've mentioned this in the past, and the last load that I had delivered gave me less than a handful of rubbish that I obviously did not want in there. To be fair, I'm seeing a bit more today. There's a good example, and it's easy to find because it's brightly coloured, but I can also see a lot of insect life in here as well. Very difficult to pick up on the camera. Now going back to what I was saying about me carrying my shovel, I had something else in my hand as well, and that is my compost thermometer. And as we walk around here, I want to make sure of the temperature, because if it's still alive, then my temperature is going to be very high. I'm climbing up into that, and we're getting a reading of just above 32 degrees Celsius, or just below 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So normally when I've had it delivered, it's been in the 140 mark Fahrenheit range, which means it's still active. But that's telling me that it's not, that it's finished. And the overall feel of it, it's just like multi-purpose compost you buy in a bag, but a hell of a lot cheaper and a damn sight quicker to get it onto your plot. And here's a better example of just how fine it can be. As you can see there, look. It works extremely well for me here. Like I say, I have to be careful. I need to make sure, as best as I can, that any contaminants I come across I can remove. But it's a great base for me to get onto the beds. So like I say, don't be frightened of it. It's a great asset to have. You can get your hands on it, and it's certainly a very cost-effective way of kick-starting your new vegetable patch, especially if you're looking at doing no dig. Now I hope you found that of interest, and if you did, let me know if you've got any questions in the comment section below. But for now, take care, and I'll catch you next time.